Welcome to the Mansfield Buzz. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Mansfield Buzz. It is Thursday. Every Thursday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, we're on the Mansfield Buzz. Your host, Herdy Burke and Jordan. And we have our guest, Virginia Roberson, who's in today. We'll be talking to her. She's with Century 21 Mike Bowman Group. And we'll be going to that in a few minutes. But we just want to catch you guys up and let you know we are live on YouTube today, youtube.com/ at Mansfield TX Buzz. Go subscribe, catch some of our archives of some of our great local businesses in the Mansfield area. Check out some of our shorts and longer broadcasts and help support our Mansfield surrounding area businesses. Okay, so Jordan, I got some other news, and that is the channel keeps growing. We're still now close to 70 subscribers since last week. We jumped about 10, and that's because our clients and people have interviewed with us are sharing their videos out there, and that's great. We're still getting close to 3,000 watches in the last 28 days, and we're close to 40, averaging about 37 to 45 hours in the last 28 days of work. Okay, so awesome. One thing I have to do, because we are talking to a realtor, Virginia Roberson, is she works for Century 21 Mike Bowman. And let me bring this up. This is the kind of part we have to go through. So let me bring up this. We want to present something to you. All right, so here it is. You can't read it, so I'm going to read it off for you. This is a Trek compliance that shows she works for this broker, and the broker is Century 21 Mike Bowman Inc. His license number is 273938. His information is on there. And by the way, we'll be posting this link inside the description at the end so you can go read it. Her license supervisor is Jeannie Dees, license number 280300, and she's the license supervisor. And then, of course, we got Virginia, and her license is 0763013. And all this information will be posted in the description box once we finish with the broadcast. So, Virginia, welcome.
Hi, thank you very much. Thank you guys for having me.
Well, we want to have fun, and Jordan, and we're glad you can leave me out, Jordan. It's all good. Jordan's. We got two of us working with the side panel, and it's all good. But we're so happy to have you, and because I've gotten to know you at the Mansfield Network Group, and one thing you have is this wonderful, just great personality, always happy, always smiling, and we love that. If some of the people you sent invites to be on today, if they would like to comment, they can comment, and we have the ability to post those questions and those comments right here for you to see and for the people to see that are watching the stream. So some of your friends are watching. You know, if you want to comment, we'll be happy to post those. If you have a question, put them up there and we'll be jumping in. So Jordan, we got a bunch of questions today. I think she threw in 3 bonus questions. Okay.
That's good. You can prepare it. I love that. Plus, we might have bonus questions coming in from the chat, right? So,
right.
Plenty of them coming in. Yeah, throw the hard ones. But Virginia, thank you for coming to the show. I also, know you from the networking event, and Herdy's right. Like, you're always just a bundle of happiness, which just shows through. And I can tell you like what you do, because otherwise, like, how could you have so much happiness unreserved, right?
Right.
So to kick things off, I know you got to love what you do. That's, what I think this comes from. But so in your line of work, you definitely get to help people quite a bit, right? It's, I know I've been through the process of buying and selling houses, and it's an endeavor to, to put it lightly. And having somebody that can help you through that is just incredible. So I'm really curious, what is one of the things you like the most about helping people go through this process?
One, I like it to be a stress-free experience for them to help them through the whole process. And most of all, I like to see people get in a home. I think that everyone deserves to have a home, and it regardless of what that looks like, my home might not be what your home looks like, but I think that everyone deserves to have a home, period. And I like taking them through that process from the beginning to the end, to from them signing the contract to giving them their keys. And that's why I do what I do, because it's nothing like seeing a family get their home, especially if they're first time home buyers, and seeing the kids go back in the backyard and start playing and running and jumping around. So that there is worth everything to me.
That's awesome. I can remember. Yeah, that's funny you say that, because that's so true. When I first moved into my house, my son he was just walking, and I remember going from an apartment to a home and just being able to open back the backyard and for him to just like walk around. It's like, wow.
Right. Yeah.
And I would imagine it's pretty cool once you get a house sold or even get it listed, right? That it's to see the people actually enjoying part of the labor and the time and the effort you put in with them, right?
Right.
And they say a lot of realtors become friends with the people that they actually work through, because the process, you're so connected through the process, right? That,
Right.
and that may not be always the case, but my point is you've established a pretty good relationship with some of these folks.
Right. You do establish a good relationship with most of the people that you work with. I just had a client that I sold him a house about 4 months ago, and he texted me and said, "Virginia, I'm going back home to South Africa. What do you want me to bring you?" And I'm like, "Bring me."
That's great.
Yeah, so you do. If you're a good agent, you will rebuild. You'll build those connections. And that of course gets you repeat business, and that's the name of this game. You want your clients to be able to call you even after the process is done, and that's what I tell my clients. If you need me for anything, even after you have your keys, feel free to do that.
And you said Lamborghini, right?
Lamborghini, yes,
Yeah.
I got you. I got you. It might be a little model car Lamborghini, but I
Yeah.
got you.
Good answer.
Bring me a car.
Right. I'll bring you one.
Yeah, for me it's food. Every time you can bring me food, just I'll eat it. I'm a bottomless.
Okay, food is good. Got you.
So diving in a little bit deeper, because home buying, as you mentioned, like getting people in their homes, and there's first time buyers, second times, buying, selling, there's doing it for yourself, buying investment homes. I mean, it's like there's such a wide gamut. So what areas do you specialize in?
Well, I try to familiarize myself with all areas as far as buyers, sellers, and of course, new builds. So, that takes a lot of research to do, but I like to be well in all of those areas, because you never know what client you're going to meet. You're out there, you're passing out your business cards, and you don't know who you're going to meet and what they're going to need from you. So I try to be well versed in all of those areas. I think the only one I'm not well versed in yet is commercial. But buy, selling, and leasing and new builds, I'm well versed in those things.
And I'm glad you bring up new builds, because that's one of the ones that I think maybe slides under the radar for a lot of people, because people would just automatically think of new builds as like, what's a new home, so like everything should be okay, because you tend to think the problems happen with the older homes,
right?
But one of our previous guests on the podcast brought up the registration of warranties and all the different things that go into new builds that I can say as a home buyer, like I would have never even thought about some of those things.
Right. And that's true. With new builds, everybody do go in with a false sense of security, thinking that this is a new build, what could go wrong? But it's no different from anything else that you can purchase. Things can go wrong because we're dealing with builders, right? So things can get left off. There's so many things that can go wrong, but that's why they also have the warranties built in to
Yeah.
cover those things. Most of them have the 1-year warranty where I'll tell them, start writing down little things that's going wrong. And when you get to the 8th month, then you go ahead and start calling the builder to get them in to fix those things. Because little things are going to happen. The house is going to settle, and that's going to cause things to shift. But you want to make sure you get those things fixed.
Yeah, and I imagine new builds are a big part of what's going on. There's a lot of expansion going on, and which is I would imagine, a pretty good market. But people like certain neighborhoods too, right? That they're comfortable in the school zones and things of that nature. So good for you. You don't hear many people say, as a realtor, that they do selling, they do listing, and they do new builds.
Right. Yeah. I try to do it all
Good
because
for you.
yes,
That's
and
cool.
it just takes a lot. It takes a lot of research, but that's what we do. That's what I do.
Awesome. I love it.
Yeah. And so on the flip side, what are some of the advantages that new homes do provide for buyers?
Okay, so right now in the market, the good thing that's happening is master plan communities. So the new builds are building communities where everything is within the community, including the schools. So they're going to have water features out there. I know one community out in Mesquite, they have a tree house built in the community for the kids. So besides getting those amenities, they're offering low interest rates right now. They're offering great incentives where they're giving you the refrigerator, the blinds, the washer and dryer. On top of that, they're offering the warranties.
And
So,
cash,
there are good things
Yeah.
about a new build and the new build communities.
So, question for you on that, and you're the realtor, is I've been hearing for a couple of years that one of the goals of these communities is to keep everybody and everything within 15 minutes of shopping, all the infrastructure that they're in, right?
Right.
Don't know if I like that, but at the same time, I understand that that's just how they're starting to design stuff. Correct? Am I correct?
Right. They are trying to design it around so you don't have to go as far out to get what you need.
Right.
Because, we're in an age of convenience, right? We want everything close by. We don't want to have to drive miles out to go to a grocery store, say HEB. Notice that HEB is coming to close to all the communities, and everybody's trying to get by there. We're just that type of society now.
Yeah.
Everything want to be convenient. We don't want to go to the store. We want people to bring things to us. So, that's communities have that in mind, where you can just go in the community and walk and get coffee, because it's convenience. That's what society is saying we want.
Yeah, you brought up HEB. Thank you. I was just picturing
couldn't
in
help myself.
line when it first opened, but never mind.
Oh yes, that's crazy. And for the people that are maybe watching that are not from the area, from Texas, or particularly the DFW area, I don't think people realize just how big this space is. So sometimes, like, if you need to drive somewhere else, you will go. I mean, it could take you an hour and a half, and you're still in the DFW area.
Yes. Yes, that's what we say too. You could go and you're in Frisco, and you're 20 minutes later and you're still in Frisco. So, we want things a little closer. That's just how we see it. Yeah.
So Kathy Staten?
Hi,
Yeah,
Kathy.
just said, I love seeing Virginia's success story. She works so hard for her clients and gets them the best deals she can. We love to hear that. Nice compliment. Thank you, Kathy, for commenting on that. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool. Good. So Jordan, I'll if you want to, let me show this real quick, Jordan, if you don't mind, for the next question. I always liked about 3 questions into our broadcast to kind of show people how to contact you, right? And so this website will be posted inside the description, and it'll be automatically linked so people can click on it right under your video. But this is her website, and it's straight to her page. So if you want to talk to her about listing, leasing, new builds, home buying, hey, here's her website right here. All right.
And now we're going to talk about why you do want to call her. So let's get to the meat of the bones and talking about my favorite word ever. So what are some of the marketing strategies you will use to sell?
Yeah.
Okay, so the most important thing that people need to remember is pricing. Correct pricing is everything.
Yeah.
It will drive whether your house moves fast or whether it stays on the market for 3 or 4 months. So once we get past the pricing issue, then we're going to go into staging. We want to make sure you declutter your home. Some people, their idea of decluttering may not be our idea of decluttering. A lot of times we'll ask you if you have a lot of personal things around, we'll tell you maybe to move those things out so that the buyer actually can see themselves in your home. So that's kind of it's kind of hard to have people take themselves out of their own home and realize that it's the buyer. The buyer needs to see themselves in the home, themselves in the living room and the kitchen. So, that's a big part of it. The staging, the decluttering. Sometimes we may have to ask you to paint or change the flooring. That's just a part of it. We're trying to get you to bring your home up to the standards of where we can move it quickly. And anything that we can do to help move that along is great. But again, the most important thing is going to be that pricing.
And Virginia, do you recommend as part that they do their own home inspector, or is it something you guys like to show in a report before? In other words, if is there a home inspector that represents you guys, or do you let the people do that themselves?
We let them do that themselves. Normally, when you're coming in as a buyer, then you're going to hire your own home inspector.
To make sure everything's up to par,
Yes.
because it could be a negotiating tool.
Exactly. It is going to be at some point, it will come down to being a negotiating tool, depending on what they find out and what they come back and say. Then we have to go
Awesome.
back and try to negotiate those items.
Yay.
Awesome. I was thinking whenever I was remembering when I was touring around some of the houses, because you talked about the decluttering, and I always find it really funny when you're looking at the house and it's really nice, it's clean, and then you check out the garage, and
Yeah.
the garage is filled with all the stuff they took out of the house.
That's normally what happens. They got to put it somewhere, so it's going to be in the garage. Yes.
Oh man, this is
so
really
true.
good. That's where it went. Okay,
Yeah.
they're normal people.
Yes.
That's why you have garages.
Exactly.
That's awesome. So, in running on that vein too, how do you stay updated on the latest real estate trends? I know, sometimes it's a buyer's market, seller market. Like you talked about the flooring. Sometimes some things are a big deal, or they're hot currently right now, and then suddenly nobody cares anymore.
Well, first of all, here at Bowman, Century 21 Bowman, we have the best training department ever. So they keep us up on the trends. They keep us up on, what the rules and regulations are, and on the forms also. But I pride myself in, like I said, doing a lot of research. I get out there. I not only do research on the computer, but I actually get out there and go to different cities. If you watch my Facebook page, you'll see me in every city, from Royce City to Waco. I get out there, I see what's trending out there, what the new bills are offering, because trust me, it's not the same in every area. What you may see in Frisco is not what you're going to see in Haslett. So you got to be able to know your clients and figure out where they actually want to be, because they'll come to you and say, well, I want to see this, and this, but I want to be in Frisco. And you'll know that what they're asking is not really in Frisco. That kind of living is actually in Haslett. So, you have to get out there and do your research, and not just on the computer. You actually have to get out and drive around.
Yeah, it makes total sense. And does that mean that, based on what you just said, does that mean, Virginia, you're pretty open to all DFW from a standpoint of selling? And so you're probably familiar with 90% of the neighborhoods, right? And all these because you drive around, which is important. Where the dog parks are, where the hiking trails are, about the school zones, all that stuff, right?
Exactly, because they're going to come to you with those questions. So you need to be able to give them some type of answer. I go through this questionnaire, and I tell people, talking to a seller or a buyer and you only talk to them about 15 minutes, that's not going to give you near what they really want. You have to have a conversation for 30, 45 minutes, because the more you talk to them, the more you'll figure out what they really want. And that's where you're trying to go, to what's really important to them and where they live, whether it be the schools, whether it be the shopping. Everybody's different.
And that's interesting because back when I did taught my YouTube class for CE, down in Austin, one of the things that we discovered through doing some research online is it took about 11 times for somebody to search an area before they ever talked to a realtor.
Mm-hmm.
And they looked at things like dog parks.
Yes.
Where was the hospital?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of construction's going on in the area? What kind of grocery store, shopping, trails, all the stuff that had nothing to do with houses at first.
Yes.
It had to do, and yes, the quality of the house and the living, right? But
Mm-hmm.
mainly what is convenient around us that we can take advantage of, the look of the neighborhood, the trees. It's amazing what people search for before they even think about a house, right?
Right. It's their lifestyle that they're looking for. They want a house, but they still have a lifestyle outside of that house. So those things are very important to them. Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, it's amazing how much, for example, with me, like how much I like trees. I didn't really understand that until I started looking at houses and look at those mature trees. I'm like, no, that's what makes a neighborhood walkable, is those trees.
Yes, that is true. That is so true.
This is always laughable with me, but I think it's funny when I go see a big old house and it's 2 feet from another one and there's no trees and they're in Texas. That just makes me laugh. Sorry.
Exactly. Yes. They mowed all the trees down and put the house on top of them.
It's not hot enough here. We don't need any shade.
Exactly. Right.
I'm kidding.
All right, let's crank it up a little bit and let's get a little saucy. I know you have some awesome stories. So how about you give us one where you've had to overcome a challenging deal?
Okay, well, just about 3 weeks ago, I closed my most challenging deal. So here's what happened. I had a disabled veteran. And when they called me, they said, we've been approved for our disability, but here's the criteria. We only want to pay $1,800 a month. We need to be close to our grandkids, which are in Euless, and we only have $2,000 in the bank. Okay. So the silence that you just gave me is pretty much what the silence that I had. But I'm always up for a challenge, right? So I said, okay, then let's do that. Let's figure it out. Now, knowing that that was an almost impossible task, the first thing I had to do is say, God, we need a miracle. So I need to call everybody around and tell them, everybody, we need to pray for a miracle, because this is like a needle in a haystack to find this. Now, we went through a lot of homes, and a lot of people don't know that all homes are not VA approved, meaning some sellers will say, we will not accept a VA loan. So we had to go through that whole process. But in the end, 2 weeks ago, they moved into their home. Now, these clients are in their 70s. So,
wow.
Yeah, they're in their 70s. So I was able to get a lot of things paid for them. We got their appraisal done for them. We were able to get the inspection being paid on the back end instead of the front end. And when it was all said and done, I took them back a check, get this, for $250.
Wow.
And they said, oh, wow, we could get a new doorbell with that money. So, guys, when I have a client, I never turn down a client. Even though it might seem impossible, I got up every morning and looked out there for a home that fit that criteria. And we just kept looking, it's if you stay with it, and I stay with it with my clients. If you stay with it, you will find what you're looking for, because the home is out there for everybody.
So, Jordan, you know what I'm hearing? And it kind of leads to the next question, is her process.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Sticking to it, right? I mean, wow. Wow.
I know.
Mm-hmm. It was amazing, you guys. And the most amazing part is when I went back to visit them, and they were sitting in their living room, and they said, Virginia, this feels like home. And They said, it feels so peaceful. It feels like home. So, that's people say, why do you do what you do? That's why I do what I do.
I bet.
Mm-hmm.
I
That's
bet.
beautiful. That's
Yes.
amazing.
Great story. Wow. So this is perfect. So now we're going to find out, Jordan, aren't we, on this next question?
Yes, because this next one is
Jordan's
the
going
one
to pop
that I
up, I guess,
Yeah.
or heard he is.
I
we go.
know this
This
is
is
what
what
people, get intimidated about, because this is when the work comes in, right?
Yes.
How do
This
you
is,
assist clients in preparing to get their home on the market?
again, price it right, declutter. And it takes a lot because people are attached to things in their home, and sometimes they don't realize, they got to get it in their minds that you're moving from this home. So it's time for you to start decluttering, taking those things, boxing them up, and not to get rid of them, but just so someone else can come in, because this is going to be their home now. A lot of people will say, but I like that color, I like that shag carpet, and that may be true, but you got to keep pulling them back in and saying, but yes, but this, remember, we're not fixing the house up for you, we're fixing it for a potential buyer. So as long as you keep them on track, because they'll kind of get off track, but you have to keep them on track. And, some of them are kind of resistant to that, because these are my things. This is my favorite color. This is what I like, but you got to keep them on track, tell them that's okay, because in your next dream home that you're going to purchase, you can get all of these things in your dream home.
So that leads me to a question for you in between this one. So, how proud are people of their houses with this market where real estate's gone up, right? And they've come to you and said, I want to sell this house for this amount of money. And it's really unrealistic, right? It's
Yes.
just way too much, right?
Yes.
So how do you talk with them on that when you see that and it's coming?
Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the comps. I'm going to pull the comps and say, okay, this is what's selling in your immediate area, and this is the price. We want to compare apples to apples, not apples to oranges. So that's going to be one thing that we're going to talk about. Then I'm going to tell them what the market says their house should be put on the market for, not what Virginia says, because Virginia can say something all day long, but you need to look at the market. What has actually sold in your area, not what's listed. We need to talk about what's pending, the price of the pending, and what's sold. Once you show them that, you still will have people that say, I don't care about that. I'm just going to, I want this. And actually, to be honest with you guys, as an agent, if a client comes to me and they want to price their home so far out of the range, I have to decline, because what will happen is their house will stay on the market and you will get the blame for that. So I kind of talk to them. I show them the stats. You show them the facts, and you try to pull them in that way. But if they're persistent in overpricing their home and the market doesn't bear out for that price, then I have to walk away from that deal.
Yeah, because that, like you said, that comes back to the point where your reputation,
Exactly.
as a realtor on that. That's it's interesting. I just know that we're in that kind of market, and I know people are happy at their house and proud of it, and they just want to get as much as they can. I understand that. Who wouldn't? But it's got to be realistic.
Right. And another thing is they have to realize what we call hidden inventory. So hidden inventory is inventory that's not showing on the MLS because they're new builds. So now you're not only competing with pre-owned homes, but if you go down the street a couple blocks, you're competing with new builds. So you got to take all of that into consideration, because people are going to say, why would I pay this for your home when I can go down the street and get a brand new home with all these incentives for the same price?
Right.
Yes.
Do you find it confusing? And I know I'm going down a little dirt road here, but I'm enjoying hearing your expertise on this, Virginia. Do you find it confusing for folks to go look at the Zillows and the Realtor.coms and not stick with the MSL? You know what I'm saying?
And actually have a bit of a clarifying question with that as well too, because for the people that are not familiar with it, because you mentioned comps, and new home buyers probably will not know what that is.
Okay.
It ties into what we see on Zillows and all those other ones, right? Because people see a price, but then a comp is different and much more accurate. So could you take us a little bit through that?
Right. So comps meaning that we're going to put your home and we're going to do a search in the MLS system. And we're going to pull homes that are like yours, same bedrooms, pretty much the same square footage. And we're going to tell you exactly what these homes are pending for and what they're sold for. When you look at a place like online, here's what basically happens. You got to know that places like Zillow, they don't know what your home look like, right? Inside. They don't know anything about your home. Basically, they're telling you as an estimate, this is what your home is worth. But if they were to come in your home and start actually looking at it, they might make deductions from what they're seeing. In some cases, you may have did upgrades that they don't know about, right? So, so you got to take all of that in consideration and with a grain of salt. You know, Zillow basically going to kind of rope you in, and then they're going to start telling you the truth, basically. Yeah. And that's how I see it. They rope you in with a price, and then you get there, and it's like, well, it was because we just saw the outside. We saw the outside, and we assumed what the inside looked like, right?
And this is another good reason to have a Virginia in your corner, because she can explain all this through the process, right? Because people definitely get confused looking online and getting ideas of what they think something is. Okay, good. I just wanted to bring that up because I thought it'd be worth mentioning on the broadcast.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, pricing is the most delicate one, and I can see that like people can get a little bit particularly attached because like it's your home, right? So you think it's worth $1 billion, and it is to you. Exactly. Yes, but the market not so much. There, somebody coming in is going to compare it. And I'm like 99% sure there's 2 houses that I can think of that I see on the way home that have been listed for most of this year, I think.
Right, and that is insane.
And that's also an indication that it's overpriced.
That's exactly what it's
or falling apart and it just doesn't look like it.
Exactly. That's exactly what it indicates. That is it's overpriced.
So Jordan, here, this is what I like. Yeah, you go ahead and ask it, but I want to pull it up for you.
Well, just going down the list, right? So then now we're listing or buying. What kind of support can we expect from your team during the buying and selling transactions?
Okay, so from the beginning, again, Century 21 Mike Bowman, we are the #1 Century 21 agency in the state of Texas. We're number 4 in the nation, and we're number 9 in the world. So that alone tells you what our track record is, right? In our office, we sell a home every 4 hours. Every 4 hours. So we know what to do to move a home. So you won't have that. We have the training that it takes. Like I said, we're offered free training here almost every day. You can get free training. So we have what it takes. Once your house is on the market, we're going to send that listing out to the top agency in the area. So everybody will know that your home is on the market. We're going to do open houses. We're going to do what it takes to sell your home. So with Mike Bowman backing us, we have everything that we need. We have agents here that's been in the business for a long time. They know what they're doing. So we have access to people that can help us move your property.
And the fact that not only you're getting your CE stuff done, you're also doing ongoing education inside the walls of this broker. So the cool thing is education rocks in this business.
Yes, it does.
So good. Yeah, great. And just like you said, if you've had realtors that have been there for a very long time, that's also a testament to the brokerage.
Yes.
So, good thing. Yay.
Yes, it is.
And going a little bit deeper on that, then how do you guys handle real estate transactions in Texas, right? Because it seems like everybody's moving here. Like they're building houses left and right. People are buying houses. People are buying houses on like cash, I don't know how much percentage above the asking price. Like it's pretty hot market over here in Texas. So how are you guys doing that?
Well, it is a very competitive market, and the best thing you can do is be the best in the business, to be trained the best. We are getting to know the market, really, to know what's going on around the DFW area. Like, for example, I know that we're getting California buyers. They're coming in droves. And the reason they're coming is because a lot of businesses are moving here, right? Not only that, Texas, of course, we don't pay income tax. Our gas is like $3 a gallon and their gas is $6 a gallon, right? They're going to sell a home in California that's about 800 square feet for $1 million plus. They're going to come here and I'm going to show them a home that's 4,000 square feet and they're going to pay $500,000 for it. No taxes, no, they're not gonna pay any income taxes. So why not come here? And that we have so many new bills. There's so much to choose from. We have, if you're 55 plus, we have 55 plus communities all around the Metroplex that you can move in. It's perfect for people that are retiring. They can come in again. You have plenty of money in the bank and you've paid your house for cash. Now, about 18 months ago, that was not such a good deal because it was driving up the prices of homes, right? We were seeing people paying $100,000, $200,000 over asking, but that was cash money from people that's coming from California. We have people coming from New York, people coming from Florida. Florida used to be the place to retire, but now more than not, Texas is going to become that state. We have the inventory. So people are starting to come this way. So you guys better get ready for it because I'm ready.
And the amazing thing is that 95% of the population of Texas is in this triangle that starts up here in Dallas and goes down through Austin, San Antonio, then goes over to Houston and back up. 95% of us live in this side of the state.
Yes. And we call that the Texas.
People need to go by in Abilene. They need to go out to
just out to West Texas.
West Texas. Go to the Davis Mountains.
Exactly. But we call that the Texaplex. And that's where
it is. That's exactly right. And it's really true. And just so you know, we are really getting big, but yet you drive 15 miles from Dallas and you're in the middle of nowhere.
Exactly. That is
kind of
so
weird.
true.
Kind of weird.
It is very weird, but things are starting to move out. So those little country towns like Frisco used to be a country town. South Lake used to be a country town. Exactly. They're gone.
I remember when 287 from Waxahachie was a 2-lane highway to Fort Worth, and it had a canopy of trees over it.
Right. No more.
No more.
Those days are gone.
So you're in a good market. That's what you're really saying.
Yes.
Okay.
And then going even further, we talked about how the pricing here a few years ago, prices got so high. And I think maybe a lot of people are, some people, I think they still think their home is worth what it was worth at that big peak. And now things have stabilized a lot more. So there's a little bit of a discrepancy there, which I think some people caught by surprise. So what are some of the important factors you take in when pricing a home, and that you can share with us so we could get a little bit of a better idea of what we're looking at?
Right. So again, where your home is. Now there's hot areas, right? Mansfield is a hot area right now. People want to move to Mansfield. Frisco, Plano. So that's one thing that's going to drive the price of your home. It might not be so much in the smaller towns unless, people are trying to come there. So that where your house is very important, because what you can't do, location. You can't pick up a house and take it somewhere else. So it depends. Exactly. So
I've seen it tried.
I've seen it try too, but it really doesn't turn out too well.
No.
So, but locations, school districts, people are really big in Texas. I know you guys are going to be surprised about this, that football is a big thing. So that actually, I know, right? That actually drives where people want their kids to go to school. So a lot of things that you don't think of will drive the price of a home. A lot of people want to be where they're gonna get recruited. So certain schools are gonna, the recruiting level is better. So, those things like that, they are factors that people think, some people will think that that's not important, but to other people, it's very important.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
makes total sense. These
Hmm.
families today that have kids as athletes are going to want to be in an area of a highly recognized school,
Exactly.
where they can get the scholarships, where they can get
Exactly.
noticed. So it's a big deal. And
It's a
that
big
goes back
deal.
to what I was saying earlier, how people search for areas before they ever talk to anybody. Some of these people know these areas better
Yes.
than some of us,
Right.
because they've
Exactly.
done such extensive research on them. So, you
Exactly.
know, so I think the idea that you drive around different communities is just cool. And, you don't hear that too often. You really
Right.
don't. Or
Hmm.
they're niched and they're in just one certain area and they know it really well. Right.
Exactly. But you can get to know any area and you can get to be an expert in any area if you
Sure.
just travel to that area.
And look
Get
at
out,
it.
walk around these smaller
Yeah.
towns. They still have little mom and pop stores. That's important to people. So if you get out there and show people that that's still out there, that's only going to be just extra in your pocket that you can talk about.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So I like this.
Oh, I was
So
thinking, just thinking over the school part, and I know for people around my age that have kids that are starting to go into the school system,
Hmm.
elementary schools, the junior highs, also finding those strong school systems has been important. And I find it really interesting how some of those like higher graded school systems,
Hmm.
those neighborhoods are really expensive.
Yes. They are very expensive and the reason why is because people are going to pay to be in those schools.
yeah,
So that's why it's driving the prices up.
yeah,
That's just the way it is. I've been a substitute teacher, so I know what it is to have a child in a particular school. We would hope that all schools are the same, but we know realistically that's not the case.
right. Makes total sense. And that doesn't include bands and all that stuff because even bands get recognized now, for going to different parades around the country, and it's a big prideful thing. I don't know if
Right.
anybody goes to high school football, but
Hmm.
occasionally, I do, and I love the band part's gotten bigger than when I was a kid and had bands. It's part of it now. I
Exactly.
love this stuff. So
And some of
yeah,
All
the
of
bands
it is,
from the
it's all
DFW
plays its
here,
part.
yeah, they have some incredible music programs as well.
Hmm.
I know my niece went to Bedford, and yeah, their music education was incredible.
Right. Yes. And that some people want their kids to be in the arts. So you want to go where that's something at that school that they deal in the arts, because it's a thing. So that's where you want your child to be.
yeah. So that's just funny. I coming from Austin, 3 years ago when it was a seller's market down there, it was almost crazy. I
Hmm.
have realtor friends, I did work with on YouTube, right? And the funny
Right.
thing, Virginia, was a house might be worth 350 or 400,000, but by the time it was bid on, it would go
Hmm.
for $700,000, and they pay cash for it, or at least pay, get the loan for 400 and pay the difference with the cash, right? Because it
Right.
can't loan you over the value of the house. But
Exactly.
but people were willing to bid that kind of money over the amount of worth. It
Right.
was crazy.
And it was crazy. And as a real estate agent, I can tell you guys, I was advising my clients not to do that. And here's
No,
why.
and I but what's going to stop them?
Right.
But here,
Somebody's going to bid, right?
Now, here's the problem though. That happened about 2 years ago. If your job transfers you and you try to sell that home is not going to be worth the 700,000 that you paid for it. It's only going to be worth what it appraises for. So now you got this gap in there and you're upside down in a house. And it's one thing to be upside down in a car, but try being upside down in a house and
Yeah,
see that will hurt you.
yeah,
that's
yeah.
part of the
So
problem.
this is probably more a mortgage question, but I wanted to ask it today because I thought of it. And if you can't, that's great. But I know that there's programs now where people get nervous about getting out of their house, right?
Mhm.
And getting in a new home and being stuck in limbo, right?
Right.
Are there programs now where they can go ahead and guarantee a loan with certain companies to have keep the house before they get the next one? You know what I'm saying? And get
Yes, I know
okay,
what you're saying. And I work with a lot of lenders. It's called basically buy before you sell.
right, got it.
So yes, so that's what they're doing. And yes, there are a lot of good lenders out there that have those type programs. So when I have a client, I can basically, like I said, I have different lenders that I can recommend them to go to that have those type programs.
Okay,
That'll either pay you up front with the equity that you have in your loan, or and give you say 3 or 4 months to sell your current home.
right.
So that is a thing. And a lot of people do use that, especially when they're talking about new builds, because if they're building a home, that gives them time and they don't have to basically float two loans.
Yeah, gotcha. And it keeps them and it gives them some security that if everything fell apart, they're not stuck in the driveway sleeping. Okay, gotcha.
That's
Okay.
exactly right. That's
That's
exactly
incredible. I
right.
didn't know that was a thing. That makes it a
Yes, it
lot
is a thing.
easier
Yes,
to.
it is
It's
a
a big
thing.
deal. That's why I brought it up because I know that it's lender she has to work with to specifically do this, but they like to tie the loan. They want to make sure they're getting guaranteed the loan, so it helps them
Mhm.
because they
Exactly.
know they're going to get the home loan. Okay,
Right,
so
because there is a charge for it,
yep,
but the charge outweigh is minimal depending on if you're ready to move out that house or not, you
Yeah.
yeah,
know. So
yeah,
everything kind of equals out.
Yeah. And you mentioned the things you have to do to prepare the house, which a lot of it is so much easier if you're not in it. Decluttering the home, doing some upgrades.
Yes,
You don't have to live around all that if you could just get out and then just let the home be in a much better place to show.
exactly. And then you don't have to constantly keep getting ready because, I know a lot of people can keep their home in perfect shape. But you get that call and say somebody's going to view your home in an hour. Some people, I'm just saying, not me, maybe not me, but some people might need a little more than an hour to get ready for somebody to view their home, right? So
Mhm.
that takes that whole thing out of play because you've moved on to your new dream home and we're selling your old home, basically.
And you don't have to have somebody like going through your stuff, right? Like even if
Right.
like I mean I doubt somebody's actually going through your stuff, but like there's
Yeah,
not
they
a
do.
problem with that.
Some people do. Some people do because they want to look through the drawers and they want to look in the closet. So it happens. That's how they can tell if their stuff is going to fit, right?
Yeah.
yeah. And I just think staging's so important.
Hmm.
Just to kind of show people how stuff fits and looks. As opposed to a blank house that somebody's already moved out of. But
Yes.
making sure they clean up a little bit and make it look tidy. I mean, after all, you're selling your home,
Right.
okay? so,
Exactly.
so yeah, makes total sense.
Yes, exactly.
So,
I'm so glad you
Jordan,
brought that up. That's a really cool thing. And then moving to the to sort of like the end portion of this process when you're buying your
Mhm.
home, like how long, especially here in the Texas market, is the house averagely on the market?
Okay, so now again, it's something that the market tells us that, right? So right now, a house on the market, and it again depends on the area.
Mhm.
It depends on a lot of factors. The area, it depends on how many homes are actually in that market in that area. But basically, right now we're looking at 30 to 45 days for your house to be on the market.
Oh wow.
And that's, of course, again, we go back to that one thing, which is if it's priced correctly.
Yes.
If it's priced correctly, you're looking at 30, 45 days.
which ain't bad.
No,
It's
no.
not bad, but again, it all has to come back down to the market and it has to come down to pricing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
gotcha. I love it.
And would you say that because this is the Mansfield buzz? So would you say that's
Mhm.
like the time for the Mansfield, Arlington, Kennedale area?
I think so. I think in those areas, especially Mansfield, but a Mansfield's problem again is Mansfield has a lot of new bills. You know, that's going to hurt a person who has a pre owned home because the new bills are out there. So they're especially are going to have to do their staging right. They're going to have the right agent that's putting their home out there on the market so as many people can see it as can. So it can be done, yes, but you're going to have an agent that is on top of things, that's
Yeah,
doing everything it takes to move your home.
Yeah, because as long as there's expansion, you're increasing the inventory
Mhm.
automatically, right? So you're giving people lots of choices. Whereas the captive area that's already been established, you know, it's just totally different. I mean, I get that.
Exactly.
And we're in one of those cities where it's grown so fast that I would imagine this would be a good time to sit in what you have.
Yes. Well, it depends. You
I
can
know
say
it's
sit in it, but to me, this is what I tell people. If you're ready to sell your home, sell
do
your
it,
home.
do it.
You
Yeah.
know, if you're ready to buy a home, buy a home. I like to say stuff like, marry the home, date the interest rates, because a lot of people talk about interest rates. But here's the thing. You won't find that same home again. Go ahead and purchase that home. You can always refinance and get a lower interest rate. So you need to marry the home and date the interest rate.
In Virginia, I would imagine since there's so many baby boomers retiring now, I would
Yes,
think that a natural market for a realtor would be the downsizing part, right? To catch people that have decided, look, we're empty nesters. We got a 5 bedroom house. We only use two. We don't need this. This is
right.
so yeah, nice
That
segment to
is
be in
true.
today too.
Yeah, downsizing is a big thing. And again, it's the baby boomers. So they've done that. So they want to get a smaller home. They want to go to, 55 plus communities where
Yeah,
they can have things
play
to do
golf,
there all day. Exactly. Play
play golf and bingo. Darn it,
golf and bingo. There you have it. And play pickleball. Don't
that's
leave
right.
pickleball out.
Pickleball.
Exactly. Yes. So we have a lot of that going on in the market.
That's
And
awesome.
what would you say to some of the people wanting to downsize? I know one of the common roadblocks is the home upgrades. Some of these people have been in the home for a lot of years, and they really have not kept up with the trends.
Right.
And there's some of them have a little bit of work to do, in not necessarily structural, but there's certain things that just need to be updated. And that I hear a lot of people have that as a little bit of a roadblock. It's too big of a house, but changing houses is too much of a hassle. What kind of advice you have for them?
That's another thing that you can do if you do the buy before you sell. That's one of the things you can use the money for, to make those upgrades in the house
Yeah,
that you're in. If
yeah.
you don't have the money, I would say work with what you have. Cabinets can be painted. Do what you can to bring it as far current as you can bring it. In some cases, you can only do so much, but that's still the thing. A lot of people, investors, they're looking to purchase homes, so you don't need to upgrade those things. And
They'll take care of those upgrades because
yes,
they want the house,
they
right?
want the house.
Yeah.
So they want the house. They're going to come in and they're going to do the upgrades. And of course, they're going to sell it for a little more. But you get to leave that house without having to put a lot of money into it.
We could go down so many different things with Virginia today on asking stuff, but how's the investor market? Is it slowed down any, or is it still really strong?
The investor market is still strong because
Okay.
there's still a lot of homes out there that, people, like we said, they're downsizing and they
All right.
don't have the time. They don't want to put in the effort. And I don't blame them. I just want to leave and go to the next part of my life.
Makes total sense. And so they don't care. So it's it's perfect for an investor to come in, do the upgrades, take it over, and sit on it because real estate always does what?
Exactly.
Goes up.
It goes up. Exactly. It goes up.
Wow. Thank you, Virginia. Did
Okay.
we
Thank you,
did
guys.
did we just about cover everything today, Jordan? What do you think?
I think so. The only thing I think we haven't covered is what we don't know that we don't know.
Right. There you go.
Yeah, so you have some I know one thing I wanted to ask you was you were going to tell us a little bit about a testimonial today that we talked about.
Okay. So, yeah, that was the testimonial that,
With the
right,
veterans.
with the
That's great.
veterans.
That's
Yes.
unbelievable.
Right. It happens. Like I said, that's not my only one, but that's one of them. And
That's
the
a great
harder
story.
ones is normally going to be the ones that don't come to the market with a lot of money. You guys, homes are expensive. It's a big investment, but there are still homes out there for everyone. there are. You know, they have a big backyard now. Their grandchildren are happy. They're playing in the backyard. So it's out there if we'll just take time to find it for them. And that's what I bring to the table. I will not turn down a client.
Yeah. It's having the time.
Unless they price the house way too high and aren't willing to look at the comps. Then
Exactly. That's exactly
I'll have
right.
to consider it. I love it. All right. So we posted right here below the bottom of the screen her website. And I encourage y'all to go look at it. She'll be happy to talk to you. It's just great to talk to somebody that's so energetic as you are. We were talking about
Thank
your
you.
work ethic before the show, the calls, the going out every day, you know, staying busy as long as the sun's up, right? Because realtors, people don't realize this, their job's not Monday through Friday.
No,
It's
not at
going to
all.
open houses. It's looking at properties on the weekend. It's searching
Yes.
out neighborhoods. It's taking
Mhm.
notes. It's
Right.
it's answering questions. It's going to network group. They are probably the hardest. The good realtors are probably the
Right.
hardest working people in the world.
Exactly. You're
So,
correct. That's a correct statement.
well, thanks for being on the Mansfield Buzz today.
Okay. Thank you guys for having me.
We enjoyed having you. And let me flip back over here, Jordan, and let everybody know that this is what we do every Thursday. We love to talk to these local businesses that are in the Mansfield or surrounding area, and we get to know these businesses instead of that little 30-second elevator pitch, right, Virginia?
Yes.
That you can't tell everything you do. This
Mm-hmm.
shows covers that stuff. We want to get to the in between stuff and have kitchen table conversations. So we're on every Thursday from 2 to 3 p.m. We're the Mansfield Buzz. We're live on YouTube. We want to thank the people who commented today. And Virginia, thank you for being a wonderful guest.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for
Jordan, thanks for being a great host and keeping me balanced on my side of the fence. And we will absolutely see you guys next Thursday at 2 p.m. Y'all have a fabulous day.
Bye, y'all.